Feilu Novel Network exclusive contract novel. Three Kingdoms. 10-year-old divine generals, recruited by Zhou Jie at the beginning. Through the virtual online game, Dream Three Kingdoms, Pan Yu becomes a 10-year-old NPC in the game and is also the son of General Pan Feng. Pan Yu felt like she was useless with a full attribute of 1. Unexpectedly, she obtained a passive skill called Infinite Enhancement. By strengthening materials, she can obtain infinite attributes. With her father recruited by the top female anchor in the gaming industry, Zhou Jie, Pan Yu's spring has arrived. Enhancement. Strength, *999, Enhancement. Sensitivity, *999, Enhancement. Health, *999. Under the power of money, Pan Yu's daily consumption of strengthening materials leads to an increase in attribute brushing. Finally, under the guidance of Zhou Jiehao, Pan Yushort became a divine general who was on par with LV Bu in terms of military strength in a short period of time. Before the SSS-level dungeon in Hulao Pass, players were still struggling to conquer the small boss Li Xuan. When Guo Si was in trouble, Zhou Jie opened a live broadcast and led Pan Yu to slay the big boss LV Bu, completing the first pass of the dungeon. Sleeping in bed, Miss Zhou is amazing. Report, someone is cheating. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. 10-year-old NPC, My Father Pan Feng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Son, just cross this mountain and we'll be there. In front of us is Nihuan village, where my father is about to take office. Let's stick to it. With a rough voice and a hint of gentleness, the burly figure sheltered him from the wind and rain. He held a mountain axe in his right hand and held Pan Yu in his left. Pan Feng smiled and said, "Yes, Dad, I got it." Pan Yu took a few breaths and replied to the cheap old man in front of her. To this day, Pan Yu still can't believe that he hasn't died and has traveled through time. However, it seems that Pan Yu's way of traveling is slightly different from those novels, movies, and TV dramas, because the places he traveled through were not parallel time and space, fictional time and space, or ancient history. Pan Yu traveled to a virtual online game called Dream of the Three Kingdoms. This game is the latest holographic virtual online game created against the backdrop of the Three Kingdoms. After entering the game, players will play the role of a protagonist in a chaotic world. The game adopts the latest virtual warehouse, which allows players to fully immerse themselves in the game, as if they have come to a second world. The game's virtual warehouse will simulate all the 5 senses of humans, making people immerse themselves. This game received huge attention as soon as it was released, to the extent that although the game equipment was valuable, the number of players on the day of the public beta exceeded 1 million. At this moment, Pan Yu did not become a player playing the role of a protagonist, but rather traveled through time to become an NPC. Pan Yu himself felt inexplicable. He was originally a seriously ill patient and then passed away. However, as soon as he opened his eyes, he found himself transported into this game, and to this day, he still cannot understand how this happened. However, in the end, Pan Yu is still alive, with her own consciousness and memory. Although it is in the game, this feeling is still quite good. If only I hadn't crossed over to this 10-year-old NPC. However, looking back at her current identity, Pan Yu couldn't help but laugh and cry. At this moment, Pan Yu is only 1.34 meters tall, dressed in simple ancient costumes, and looks like an ordinary commoner. He is only 10 years old in the game and is just a child. Not only that, he actually has a father who is a well-known figure, and even during the first time he traveled, Pan Yu couldn't accept it. His father beside him was the famous General Pan Feng during the Three Kingdoms period. Speaking of the name Pan Feng, anyone familiar with the romance of the Three Kingdoms knows that he is a humorous character. Pan Feng is a character in the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms. He is skilled in wielding a large axe and is known as the unparalleled divine general among the people. Appearing in the 5th chapter of the novel, the general under the command of Han Fu, the governor of Jizhou, was ordered by Han Fu to challenge Dongzhuo's general Hua Xiong in front of Sisui Pass when the 18 feudal lords were attacking him. In Han Fu's original words, the prefect Han Fu said, "I have General Pan Feng who can slay Hua Xiong." Unexpectedly, within 3 rounds of the confrontation between Pan Feng and Hua Xiong, Pan Feng was beheaded by Hua Xiong. From then on, Pan Feng became a laughingstock and a topic of discussion. And Pan Yu is exactly Pan Feng's son in this game. I have no right to laugh at my cheap dad, right? Pan Yu opened her attribute panel and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Name: Pan Yu, faction. None, age. 10 years old, identity. Refugee, Qi and blood. 1. When Qi and blood drop to 0, the character will die. Force. 1. The higher the force, the higher the damage it can cause to the target. Command. 1. Each point of command can command 10 soldiers and 1 general. Defense. 1. The higher the defense, the lower the proportion of damage caused by force that can be offset. Intelligence. 1. The higher the intelligence, the greater the success rate of using strategies, and the better the effect. Politics. 1. The higher the politics, the better the effect of assisting players in internal affairs. Agility. 1. The higher the agility, the easier it is to dodge moves and move. Combat skill. None, strategy. None, natural skill. Infinite enhancement, introduction. Son of Pan Feng, infinite enhancement. Passive. Those who possess this skill can be infinitely enhanced and their attribute limit can be lifted. This skill is a hidden skill that can only be explored by the skill owner, and comes with the attribute hiding effect. It cannot be shared with anyone for attribute data. All attributes are 1. This is the attribute panel that Pan Yu saw after crossing over, which can be said to be a complete waste attribute. Pan Yu's identity is that of a refugee, and he can be considered the lowest level NPC in the game, but his attributes are not inferior to his. Full attribute 1, this is not because Pan Yu only has a judgment age of 10 years old, but because she is a scumbag of her own attribute, because even children aged 3 or 4 are not considered to have this attribute. What is the extent of Pan Yu's attribute residue? Simply put, his Qi and blood are 1. At this moment, as long as Pan Yu bleeds, even a scratch will immediately cause him to die. Because in the game settings, as long as the Qi and blood are 0, death will occur. As an NPC, Pan Yu is not like those players who can resurrect endlessly after death. Pan Yu only has 1 life, so if he dies, he really dies. A small wound that punctures a finger can kill him, which is not even as good as a baby's attributes, indicating how poor his attributes are. But at the same time, Pan Yu has a super abnormal passive skill called infinite enhancement. When Pan Yu first saw this skill, he thought there was a bug, because this skill should not have appeared. It was simply a divine level skill in divine skills, and the abnormality was to the extreme. Infinite enhancement having this skill means that Pan Yu has the possibility of unlimited growth. In the future, it is possible for him to be more intelligent than Zhuge Liang, more martial than Lu Bu, and more political than Sun Yu. New books seek everything, flowers and evaluation tickets. Chapter 2. The Potential of Kings, Live Sister. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the game, Dream of Three Kingdoms, all NPCs are allowed to use enhancement items to enhance their attributes. Pan Yu has also had some understanding of this before. At that time, when he was seriously ill and lying in bed with nothing to do, the information about this game was already flying everywhere, and as an old bird in the game, Pan Yu often paid attention to it. Although it is a game with a Three Kingdoms background, it does not mean that only those generals and strategists in the Three Kingdoms background are truly useful. In fact, even ordinary NPCs can be trained to compete with those Three Kingdoms characters, but this probability is still relatively small. Because even with enhancements, there is a limit to the use of each NPC enhancement item, and it cannot be reinforced without limitations. Therefore, the basic attributes of each character represent the height of your future attribute limit. The more basic attributes you have, the higher your growth height will be in the future. So, if Pan Yu didn't have this infinite reinforcement passivity, with his basic attribute of all attribute 1, then Pan Yu could almost be considered useless. But with this infinitely enhanced passivity, Pan Yu still has the opportunity to counterattack, and it has the potential to become the strongest king from a black iron counterattack. Don't dream about it. With just my basic attribute, how much material does it take to cultivate me? Unless I am a gold player, my counterattack path will be extremely difficult. But soon, Pan Yu smiled bitterly again. His current identity is NPC. Although he has a high degree of freedom, if Pan Yu wants to become stronger, he needs his protagonist to use reinforcement materials to strengthen him. With his attribute of being a fifth scumbag in battle, that player is willing to cultivate him. The most crucial thing is that his passive attribute comes with a hidden effect. Even if Pan Yu wants to tell the other person that he has a twisted passive skill that can be infinitely enhanced, he needs others to believe that he is. Even if we take a step back, if our future protagonist knows that we have this passivity, we must have the ability to cultivate ourselves. Note that those reinforcement materials are important prop resources that every player wants in the game. Without financial strength, relying solely on oneself to obtain them may take a monkey year to cultivate Pan Yu. Under various harsh conditions, Pan Yu felt that her potential for rise was extremely slim and hopeless. There is no way out, maybe I can turn things around. Pan Yu did not give up or despair about it. He was able to travel through the game and continue to survive in the form of data. Pan Yu felt that he could not give up hope, at least living was also a good thing. Brothers, who do you think my first general will be? It shouldn't be LV Bu, Zhao Yun is also good. I like Zhao Yun, he is both handsome and capable of fighting. At this moment, the number of viewers in the live room of Zhou Jie, the female anchor of Do Shark Live, the first online live streaming platform, has exceeded several million. At the moment, in the live screen, a female character just like Sister Zhou is at the door of a simple village. However, unlike Zhou's usual attire, Zhou, who appeared in the live broadcast, was dressed in ancient women's clothing, and her entire attire was reminiscent of that of an ancient woman. As the first female anchor in the gaming industry, Zhou Jie also registered an account and entered the game as soon as the public beta of Dream Three Kingdoms started. At this moment, Sister Zhou is eagerly awaiting the arrival of her first warrior. In Dream of the Three Kingdoms, when players enter the game, they will be given an initial village to refresh some initial resources. The player plays the role of the owner of this village, and the subsequent game needs to develop the village, collect resources, recruit generals and strategists, etc. In the initial state, each player has a free recruitment opportunity to recruit their first warrior or strategist. Sister Zhou, don't think about it anymore. Do you know how small the probability of getting a free draw of the Three Kingdoms historical generals is at the beginning? It's estimated to be 0.001%. And the probability of getting legendary figures like LV Bu and Zhao Yun, as you mentioned, is even higher at 0.0000001%. With this probability, isn't buying a lottery ticket worth 10,000 yuan a good deal? That's right, posts are being posted on the forum. For now, being able to recruit a mediocre warrior with a single basic attribute exceeding 50 is already considered an European emperor level. You're thinking too much about drawing historical figures. I think for someone like Sister Zhou, it would be good if she recruited someone with a single attribute of 30. Don't worry, it's too damaging. Single attribute 40, average. Upon hearing Zhou Jie's expectations, barrage after barrage indicated that she was dreaming. Obviously, in the early stages of the game, if one wants to draw historical figures from the three kingdoms through the first free lottery, it is only possible for someone who has reached a certain level of expertise to do so. However, obviously, with Zhou Jie's luck, everyone thinks she has a higher probability of falling into the street. You guys crawl for me, then curse me. What if I draw a historical figure? Sister Zhou was filled with anger when she saw the barrage, feeling a bit dissatisfied. Draw to send rockets. Draw to brush the spaceship. Draw 30 aircraft carriers directly, as I said, remember my ID. Seeing that Sister Zhou was not convinced, the barrage was full of energy and they all made bets. Obviously, based on the current information on the forum, this is simply too difficult. Because the current number of online users announced on the official website is over 3 million, but no one has claimed to have recruited historical figures from the three kingdoms, indicating how low the probability is. Then wait and see. I'll be the European emperor today. Zhou snorted, her gaze fixed on the distance. Immediately, her eyes lit up. Coming, someone is coming, the generals I recruited are here, the blind box has been opened. New books seek everything, flowers and evaluation tickets. Chapter 3. Is the protagonist a woman, teasing Sister Zhou? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Hey, why are there two, one big and one small? As it approached, the view became clearer, Zhou Jie said in confusion, looking at the slowly approaching figure in the distance. She was very surprised. Normal, because the system will automatically generate the family information of the target you recruit. Some players recruit generals with up to 7 or 8 family members. Yes, I just saw on the forum that someone has recruited a warrior, directly leading a large group of more than 20 people. You just brought a small one, it's not surprising. Well, wouldn't the people brought here be able to become the population of my village? Sister Zhou immediately reacted to the explanation of the barrage. That's right, so the more people you recruit, the more you actually earn, because the initial village only gave a population of 100 units, but your village can accommodate 200 units of population, so the initial population is very important. Sister Zhou, that's why you brought an extra person. You know how embarrassed you are. Laugh to death, still want to open a golden legend. I think the blue sky and white clouds are suitable for you, Sister Zhou. Seeing this, everyone sneered one after another. From the current situation, the probability of Zhou Jie wanting to counterattack the European emperor is obviously very low. Sister Zhou's face turned green when she was mentioned, but she still insisted that she could definitely counterattack. A smile appeared on her face as she looked up and waited for the recruited generals to come over. Ah, we're here. Look, ahead is the Nihuang village where we're going to work. It seems that the one waiting for us at the village entrance is our lord. Let's meet him soon. Seeing a rudimentary village appear before her, Pan Feng's face showed surprise and she said to Pan Yu. Is she a female player? Crouching slot, that's done. Female players play games as they please, let alone this kind of strategy game. Woo, I'm done. Pan Yu followed her gaze and was surprised to find that the person standing at the village entrance waiting to receive them was actually a female character. Seeing that it was a female player, Pan Yu's heart was shattered. As is well known, although there are many female gamers nowadays, the ones who truly play the essence and spend a lot of time researching are male gamers. Pan Yu's current situation is that he wants to encounter a high-spending money tycoon, but the reality is very emotional. He has actually encountered a female player, and maybe the other person will become bored after playing for a few days and not go online. It is possible that Pan Yu will never be able to rise up and make a comeback in this lifetime. Thinking of this, Pan Yu felt a bit desperate, even thinking that she might fall and die now. However, thinking so, they were led by Pan Feng towards the village entrance. When they finally arrived at the village entrance, they finally saw each other's appearance clearly. Oh, this person, why do they look so familiar? Face to face, after meeting each other, they saw each other's faces clearly. When they saw their future protagonist, Pan Yu was slightly taken aback, because at this moment, the other person's appearance gave Pan Yu a strong sense of familiarity. Pan Yu felt as if he had seen this female player somewhere before, and probably more than once or twice. But at the moment, Pan Yu's brain is not enough and she can't remember where she has seen it. "Hello, I'm your lord. Just call me Sister Zhou. You've come all the way to work hard." With a hint of familiarity in her voice, Sister Zhou smiled and looked at them, saying. When she heard the words, Sister Zhou, Pan Yu trembled as if struck by lightning. "Zhou Jie, that Zhou Jie, the Zhou Jie of Do Shark live. That's right, it's her, she's Sister Zhou. Lying down, I just feel like this woman has such a familiar face. It turns out to be her, the mute bride. So, my lord is actually Sister Zhou, this." Pan Yu's heart was shaken because after hearing the other person's self-introduction, he finally remembered who the woman in front of him was. Zhou Jie, the first sister of Do Shark Live, is known as the first female anchor in the gaming industry and an internet celebrity with millions of fans. Pan Yuping also likes to watch live broadcasts every day, and Zhou Jie is one of them. Pan Yu remembers that she also has a fan card for Zhou Jie. Just the moment we first met, Pan Yu didn't think of Sister Zhou at all. This can't be blamed on Pan Yu, because the probability is too low. It's not possible to encounter a player who would actually be Do Sha Yi Jie, which is obviously a bit unrealistic. Until now, Pan Yu dared to believe that it was true that she had met Sister Zhou, who was her future lord. For a moment, Pan Yu was a bit overwhelmed with tears and laughter, unsure whether to feel happy or speechless. Because in terms of Zhou Jie's previous live streaming status, although she played games, she didn't play the essence. Therefore, if Pan Yu falls into the hands of Sister Zhou, it can be said that life and death are unpredictable, and misfortunes are unpredictable. However, one thing is certain, that with Sister Zhou's strength, if she is willing to cultivate herself, then she does have this ability. Subordinate Pan Feng, pay respects to the Lord and bring my family to join us. Upon hearing Zhou Jie declare her home, Pan Feng clasped his fists and saluted her. Pan Feng, brothers, who is Pan Feng? Is he a layman or a historical figure? Judging by his name, it's great. Do any brothers know about it? Hurry up and let me know. Upon hearing the name Pan Feng, Sister Zhou's eyes lit up. She didn't know much about the characters of the three kingdoms, and she knew the famous ones. Obviously, she had never heard of Pan Feng, but hearing this name made Sister Zhou feel extraordinary. She immediately asked. Sleeping trough, Pan Feng. Is it true or false, Pan Feng? Zhou Jie recruited Pan Feng. Is this Pan Feng the same Pan Feng? Do I have the general Pan Feng? However, when she learned that Zhou Jie had recruited Pan Feng, the barrage in the live broadcast room exploded instantly, and everyone was surprised. Unexpectedly, Zhou Jie had drawn Pan Feng. New book, please provide some data, flowers and review tickets, please. Chapter 4. Empress Zhou, General Pan Feng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What situation, what situation? I seem to have discovered something amazing from your barrage. Is the Pan Feng I recruited a very impressive character? Did I really recruit a character from the three kingdoms? I won't, will I? Although Sister Zhou doesn't know Pan Feng, she knows how to watch bullet comments. But at the moment when he saw the barrage in the live broadcast room brushing the screen at a speed that was difficult to distinguish with the naked eye, he seemed to feel that things seemed a bit different. You're scrolling too fast and can't see the content of your barrage. Forget it, I'll check it myself. Zhou Jie tried to find the answer from the barrage, but unfortunately, the barrage was scrolling too quickly and she couldn't see the content. She had no choice but to open the search engine online and input the words, Pan Feng. At the moment when the top-ranked message appeared on the search engine, Zhou Jie's eyes suddenly lit up. Roar, roar. What a Three Kingdoms figure. Haha, that's great. I really recruited a Three Kingdoms figure. Sister Zhou couldn't believe it, because the information at the top at this moment prominently displayed the word Pan Feng as a character from the Three Kingdoms. This also showed one thing. No matter how strong Pan Feng was, he was really a character that had appeared in the Three Kingdoms. He was really European. At the thought of this, Sister Zhou became excited and quickly opened Pan Feng's encyclopedia. I have General Pan Feng, who can slay Hua Xiong. Admiral. Brothers, is Pan Feng a general? No, it's not a legendary figure, is it, my goodness. As soon as she caught her eye, Zhou Jie saw some information about Pan Feng, and when she saw the words, general, in the adjective, she immediately became energized. Obviously, these two words should not be meant for the weak, and Zhou Jie felt that Pan Feng was amazing. The barrage continues to roll frequently, and many viewers of the live broadcast have already been laughed crazy by General Pan Feng with Zhou's words. But with a smile, those people cried again because Zhou Jie really drew historical figures from the Three Kingdoms. Something's wrong, was he chopped in less than 3 rounds? Isn't that too bad? Quickly, the excited Zhou Jie realized that the situation seemed not as she had anticipated. Because he saw the message that Pan Feng was killed by Hua Xiong in less than 3 rounds, a person who was defeated by someone in less than 3 rounds seems not as powerful as imagined, right? Is this Hua Xiong awesome? Sister Zhou was curious about who Hua Xiong was again, and now she opened a webpage to view information about Hua Xiong. Hey, this Hua Xiong is very powerful. So, it doesn't seem unjustified that Pan Feng was killed by him. His strength should not be weak, right? Seeing Hua Xiong's description, Sister Zhou felt that Hua Xiong was very strong. And instead, I think of my own Pan Feng being able to compete with Hua Xiong. Although he was chopped off, it at least indicates that his strength is still a bit lacking. Forget it, just look at the attributes later. After watching for a while, Zhou Jie couldn't analyze whether Pan Feng was strong or not. She closed the page and returned to the game screen. General Pan, please pick us up quickly. We'll be a family from now on, and I'll have to rely more on General Pan. Zhou Jie said to Pan Feng, her face full of smiles. It's my lord. Don't worry, I will definitely give my all to help you achieve your hegemony. Pan Feng nodded at the words and said boldly to Zhou Jie, his face full of a passionate expression. Ding, you have joined the Nihuang village camp with your father Pan Feng, Lord Zhou. On Pan Yu's side, a sudden sound of prompts echoed in her mind, indicating that Zhou Jie had already taken herself and Pan Feng under her command. Come and see how Pan Feng's attributes are. Sister Zhou has just confirmed the recruitment of Pan Feng, and now she can't wait. Name. Pan Feng, Faction. Nihuang Village Quality. Elite Level, Age. 29 years old, Identity. General, Qi and Blood. 654, when Qi and Blood drop to 0, the character will die. Force. 72, the higher the force, the higher the damage it can cause to the target. Commander. 62, each point of commander can command 10 soldiers and 1 general. Defense. 60, the higher the defense, the lower the damage caused by force that can be offset. Intelligence. 49, the higher the intelligence, the greater the success rate of using strategies, and the better the effect. Politics. 31, the higher the politics, the better the effect of assisting players in internal affairs. Agility. 48, the higher the agility, the easier it is to dodge moves and move. Battle technique. Battle axe technique, strategy. None, natural skill. None, introduction. Pan Feng is a character in the novel, Romance of the Three Kingdoms. He is skilled in wielding a large axe and is commonly referred to as the unparalleled divine general. He appears in the 5th chapter of the novel. He is a general under the account of Han Fu, the governor of Jizhou. When the 18 feudal lords were attacking Dongzhuo, he was ordered by Han Fu to challenge Dongzhuo's general Hua Xiong in front of Sisui Pass, and was beheaded within 3 rounds. Battle axe skill. Intermediate martial arts skill. Those who possess this battle skill are skilled in using battle axe weapons, and their current proficiency is proficient in handling them with ease. Oh my goodness, brothers have taken off, with 72 points of force. Oh my goodness, 3D has passed 60. When Zhou Jie opened Pan Feng's panel, she exclaimed in surprise. Force 72, Dominance 62, Defense 60. This may seem like a hurdle, but in the early stages of the game, it's simple, and this attribute can be called a divine general. Sleeping Trough. Awesome. General Pan Feng, unparalleled divine general. The first historical figure in Dream of the Three Kingdoms was unexpectedly drawn by Sister Zhou. Hiss, invincible. Sister Zhou is going to take off in the early stages. New books seek everything, flowers and evaluation tickets. Chapter 5. The whole internet is boiling, and everyone's mouth is crooked with a smile. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Woo 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 woo, Zhou Jie has no luck. He actually drew a character from the Three Kingdoms. Pan Feng has such a powerful attribute. Why did I recruit a mediocre and useless general, whose attribute is less than half of Zhou Jie's Pan Feng? Seeing that Sister Zhou drew Pan Feng, I feel like I can delete the number and start over. Maybe I can really draw LV Boo. When it comes to account deletion, you probably don't know the deletion mechanism of this game. Your account is bound to your ID card, iris, and fingerprint 3 times. If you delete your account, you won't be able to re-register it for the next half month. If you go online again half a month later, you may already be far behind other players. That's right, and you wouldn't think that Zhou Jie drew Pan Feng. This Three Kingdoms character is really easy to draw, right? With millions of players, Zhou Jie was the only one to draw. The barrage gradually returned to normal, and when they saw the moment before that Zhou Jie was being mocked for really transforming into the European emperor and drawing characters from the Three Kingdoms, everyone envied and became jealous. Don't be fooled by the fact that only Pan Feng, a character in the Three Kingdoms romance, was drawn here. However, in the early stages of the game, this had already enabled Zhou Jie to establish an advantage over 99.99% of players. Those who want to send rockets and spacecraft, hurry up. Who said I can only draw a 30 attribute one with a black face? Sister, I drew a Pan Feng today. Hey, I'm so angry with you. Zhou Jie tilted her mouth, and the words, de se, were almost engraved on her face. Oh my, is there something wrong with our lord? Why is she so silly? Pan Feng couldn't help feeling a little guilty when she saw Zhou Jie foolishly laughing at the sky and asked Pan Yu. Hee, probably after seeing my cheap dad's attributes, she's currently watching bullet comments or posting on forums. She's not stupid. Pan Yu thought to herself that he was not a real NPC. Knowing Zhou Jie's professional attributes, Pan Yu predicted that the other party must be in the live broadcast. And he also knew about Dream of the Three Kingdoms, and knew what it meant to obtain a general like Pan Feng in the early stages, so Pan Yu predicted that Zhou Jie must have gone crazy at this moment. Dad, I'm afraid it's because of encountering a powerful general like you to assist me. I'm happy at this moment. Really, I think so too. Upon hearing this, Pan Feng's eyes lit up and her face lit up with joy. Her expression was as silly as that of Zhou Jie at the moment. PDD sends 10 rockets. Stupid little girl sent a super fire. Prince Wang has sent 5 spaceships. Just as Sister Zhou was happy, the gifts began to flash on the screen. The news of Zhou Jie's debut as a character in the Three Kingdoms quickly spread to other live streaming rooms. After learning about this, the entire Do Shark anchor was not calm anymore. At this time, almost 90% of the anchors in Do Shark were playing Dream of the Three Kingdoms, and they obviously didn't have the luck of Zhou Jie. When they learned that Zhou Jie had drawn Pan Feng, they didn't calm down and quickly came to watch. When they saw the Pan Feng attribute displayed on the live broadcast screen, everyone was amazed. PDD, sleeping slot, Pan Feng, this warrior will match me. Sister Zhou, are you willing to offer a price? Stupid little girl, second brother, it's too European. If you love it, give it a super hot suction. Prince Wang, 1000 watts, transfer him to me. Yodelxin said, lie down, second brother. When did it happen? So, what about O? Let big brother breathe a wave of O chi. Oh my, hurry up and don't come and give gifts. If you want to suck on my European charm, don't suck, don't suck. Sister Zhou watched as these anchors came in to brush gifts and take a breath, her face immediately filled with a proud smile. She said to the anchors in the live broadcast room, not to mention how cheap they are. Wang Gongzi, truly received, 1000 watts. If you transfer it, I will transfer it to you immediately. Sleeping in bed, Prince Wang is indeed wealthy and generous, asking for 1000 W. Nima, an elite general only costs 1000 watts, is that so luxurious? Nonsense, although it's at the elite level, it's very important in the early stages. Okay, 1000 watts, it's worth it. Woo-woo, why wasn't it recruited by me, otherwise 1000 WS would be mine. Seeing that Prince Wang really wanted to take Pan Feng for a price of 1000 W, everyone suddenly became uneasy and had only one thought in their hearts. Prince Wang is so wealthy. Sister Zhou was stunned for a moment. She didn't expect that Prince Wang would really offer 1000 W to take Pan Feng. For a moment, she hesitated and looked at Pan Feng. Brothers, can I sell it or not? The characters in Dream of the Three Kingdoms can be traded, as long as they have elite quality and belong to the historical figures of the Three Kingdoms, they can be converted into cards for trading. So, at the moment, Sister Zhou hesitated when faced with Prince Wang's offer of 1000 W and didn't know if she should sell it. Definitely not for sale. The future of this game is limitless. Having Pan Feng is equivalent to having early resources, which can lead most players. When the time comes, materials and resources can be sold for money. Isn't it more fragrant than 1000 Ws? Yeah, in the long run, I choose Pan Feng. The rarity of 1000 watts is incomparable to today's Pan Feng. Yes, 1000 Ws are very tempting, but Pan Feng is even more fragrant. If you plan to play for a long time, Zhou Jie, it is recommended not to sell it. Bullet comments were given one after another, but most of them were still inclined not to sell. After all, in the early stage, a Pan Feng was simply an invincible existence. Can this be sold? It seems reasonable, young Master Wang. I'm sorry, this cannot be sold. Zhou Jie smiled and politely refused Wang Gongzi's 1000 W, obviously following the advice of Danmu. New books seek everything, flowers and evaluation tickets. Chapter 6. Brothers, is Pan Yu a famous general? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as Zhou Jie refused Wang Gongzi's offer, Pan Feng's attribute panel was prominently posted on the Dream Three Kingdoms game forum. At this time, the popularity of this game is very high, even those who cannot afford gaming devices are paying attention to the dynamics of this game in cloud gaming. When they saw that someone had actually drawn historical figures from the Three Kingdoms, everyone exclaimed and clicked on their posts one by one. When they saw Pan Feng's attributes, most people showed an envious expression, and it was obvious that Pan Feng really had the qualification to be called a general now. Compared to the amateur characters generated by the system, Pan Feng is already very abnormal. Is this the popularity of this game? My live streaming viewership is skyrocketing. Sister Zhou also noticed the clues. Within a short period of time when she recruited Pan Feng, the popularity of her live broadcast room skyrocketed like a rocket. It is obvious that everyone wants to witness the birth of the first historical figure from the Three Kingdoms in this game, and more people are coming to absorb a wave of European energy. This time, Sister Zhou has arrived home. By the way, since Pan Feng is a historical figure in the Three Kingdoms period, will he bring his family with him as well? Suddenly, Sister Zhou's gaze turned to Pan Yu standing next to Pan Feng. Although she hasn't seen much of the Three Kingdoms, Zhou Jie also knows that there have been many impressive figures in the history of the Three Kingdoms, including fathers, sons, and even generations of great-grandchildren. The descendant of a famous general may also be a famous general. Suddenly, her attention fell on Pan Yu, with a hint of anticipation in her eyes. Wow, how cute! However, at the moment when Sister Zhou carefully looked at Pan Yu, she couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Her maternal heart instantly overflowed, deeply attracted by Pan Yu's appearance in front of her. What's your name? Why are you so cute? This handsome guy looks too nice, isn't he? Sister Zhou crouched down and looked at Pan Yu in front of her, asking. Pan Yu looks like a 10-year-old child. Although her clothes are slightly rough and her face is also dusty, it is still difficult to conceal Pan Yu's cute and handsome appearance. Especially since Pan Yu is not a true NPC, her eyes are particularly agile, making people increasingly like her. Master, my name is Pan Yu. With a slightly childish voice, Pan Yu said to Zhou Jie. Pan Yu. Brothers, who is Pan Yu? Is he a famous general? This little guy is too cute, isn't he? He must be some kind of powerful general, right? Or a strategist. Upon hearing this, Sister Zhou was curious in her heart. She didn't know who Pan Yu was, but from the perspective of the appearance association, Pan Yu didn't seem to be an ordinary person. Pan Yu, who is it? I haven't heard of it. Well, I haven't heard of it either. The old Three Kingdoms bird, there shouldn't have been this character in the history of the Three Kingdoms, right? Damn it, even Pan Feng is fictional in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Pan Yu was brought by Pan Feng, probably a system-generated NPC. Sister Zhou, these are the system-generated family NPCs, all virtual and fictional characters. Don't think about it, do you still want to buy big and give small gifts, and share the benefits with you to occupy them all by yourself? Haha, that's right. Even if this kid is a famous general and so young, it will take a monkey year and a horse month for you to cultivate him. You should know, although the time in this game is not synchronized with the real time, it is still a month in reality, a season in the game. This kid has to wait for him to grow up for several years. Speaking of which, this system is really amazing at pinching people. This kid is really cute. Having understood Zhou Jie's intentions, everyone immediately typed on the barrage and told Zhou Jie that Pan Yu did not have this person. My lord, this is my son. I will rely on my lord's care in the future. Pan Feng saw Zhou Jie looking at Pan Yu and immediately introduced herself. Ah. Your son. Upon hearing these words, Sister Zhou was immediately stunned. She looked at Pan Feng, who was thick and muscular, and then at Pan Yu, who was cute and carved with powder and jade. She never thought that Pan Yu was Pan Feng's son. Sleeping slot. Green, green, green. This is determined to be the old king next door. Pan Feng's son, how could he be so beautiful? This time, even the barrage was on Zhou's side, and everyone thought it was a bit of nonsense. Actually, I also think it's a bit ridiculous. Pan Yu couldn't help but think to himself when he saw Zhou Jie's expression. Obviously, he also felt outrageous. Why did the system pinch Pan Feng's son so beautifully? Yes, my lord, what's the problem? Pan Feng was surprised and looked at Zhou Jie, saying. No, 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 your wife should be very beautiful, right? Zhou asked with a smirk. How did you know, Lord? My wife is a famous beauty from all over our country. Unfortunately, she died early and cannot pay her respects to Lord anymore. Pan Feng exclaimed with emotion. Hee hee. If your wife wants to be like you, you have to consider why your son is so beautiful. Sister Zhou thought to herself, of course, these words will only bury her heart, but she dare not speak them out, otherwise she would be afraid to become the first protagonist in game history to be killed by her own generals. Because this game actually has a betrayal system, which means that when NPCs have ambitions or low loyalty, they are rebellious, which is also the charm of this game. Sister Zhou, take a look at the attributes of Pan Yu. I heard that the descendants of historical figures have a high chance of inheriting their parents' genes, which is a high attribute. Hey, I also know this, it seems like there is this setting. Yes, the reproduction system. I heard that the protagonist can also reproduce with NPC characters in the game. It's so exciting to think about it. Speaking of this, a group of old LSPs in the barrage suddenly showed a lewd smile. Obviously, this game has this system, which is also one of the terrifying reasons for the popularity of this game. Okay, let me take a look. Zhou nodded and immediately opened Pan Yu's interface, but when the interface opened, everyone's expressions froze. Sleeping trough, what's the situation? New books seek everything, flowers and evaluation tickets. Chapter 7. All attributes are one, what a monster. You are listening at novel full.audio. Full attribute 1, what kind of garbage is this? How could there be such an attribute? I'm also confused. What's going on with Nima? Why is it all attribute 1? Damn it, the attributes of 3-year-old children in my village are not all 1, is this a system bug? So trash. At least he's also the son of Pan Feng. I understand. Old Pan must have green hair on his head. Sure hammer, this must be the child of the neighboring Lao Wang family. Otherwise how could Pan Feng have such a beautiful son with all attributes of 1? All attributes are 1. This is the magical attribute of Pan Yu today. Pan Yu's infinite enhancement skill can hide skills, as well as hide the attributes of exploration type skills being explored. But Zhou Jie is her lord, so her attributes at this moment are clear to her. This week, Sister's display in the live broadcast room immediately exposed Pan Yuchuan's bizarre attribute of 1 in front of the entire network. Is the system stuck? Is this attribute normal? All are 1. Sister Zhou was also confused and dreamed of what a famous General Pan Yu would be. After all, Pan Feng can be considered a historical figure of the 3 kingdoms, and the children she gave birth to are not bad. But she never expected that this guy would give herself a full attribute 1. It's definitely not normal. Even if the other attributes are 1, it's too outrageous to have only 1 health. Any newborn child has more than 1 health, right? Yeah, it looks like a complete waste. By the way, is it a scratch now that this kid is dead? The outrageous attributes make the barrage exceptionally active. It is obvious that Pan Yu's attribute is actually against the rules. Close up, you're just an empty shelf, a vase. Sister Zhou couldn't help but cry and laugh. She crouched down and looked at Pan Yudao with an innocent expression on her face, feeling a little sorry for Pan Yudao for 3 seconds. However, what is the skill for fighting in his skill bar? Full attribute 1 is really rubbish to the extreme, but Zhou Jie still noticed that there is a skill to use a question mark in Pan Yu's innate skill column. This is a hidden skill. Some NPCs will have their own skills and hidden attributes. That's right, the official has announced that hidden skills have their pros and cons based on Pan Yu's current attributes. It is estimated that he is a useless hidden skill, which is why he has full attribute 1. Unfortunately, the hidden skill is amazing. If it were a powerful hidden skill, wouldn't it take off? It seems that Sister Zhou's aura is gone. Full attribute 1, wouldn't it be someone with hidden skills like heavenly punishment, cursed by heaven. Hidden skills are also a feature of this game. Both Three Kingdoms characters and ordinary NPCs may have their own hidden skills, which cannot be detected and have hidden nature. According to official information, these hidden skills may also be inherited to the next generation. So, it can also be said that there is a cultivation system in the game where both spouses bring their own hidden skills and cultivate the next generation to obtain dual hidden skills. Of course, hidden skills are not necessarily good skills, many of which are actually negative hidden skills. Everyone saw that Pan Yu had a hidden skill with a full attribute of 1, and instinctively recognized it as a negative attribute hidden skill. How pitiful. Sister Zhou looked at the barrage and couldn't help but reach out to touch Pan Yu. You've been cursed since you were young. Don't worry, I'll take care of you. I'll follow your sister in the future, and she'll cover you up. Zhou Jie also regarded Pan Yu as a hidden skill carrier with negative attributes, revealing an ant-like face and facing Pan Yu. Pan Yu looked at Zhou Jie with a playful and speechless expression, wanting to tell her that the young master is not a waste, his hiding is a divine skill. Sister Zhou, give your child some health boost. This bit of health has died from being knocked and bumped. The system should have given him 20 primary health enhancement materials at the beginning. You can choose to use them as primary health enhancement materials. Each NPC character can use 10 of the same type of enhancement items, and give him 10 to use. Don't let him hang up so easily. Yes, NPCs have an emotional system. If they fail, your Pan Feng will experience strong emotional fluctuations, and it may not be possible for them to disappear, and they will lose a lot. That's right, that's right. I watched a video of an internal testing player, in which his generals were demoted due to his brother's death. Don't let the loss outweigh the gain. Give this child some health, it's just too tragic. At this point, someone reminded Sister Zhou to use strengthening materials to boost Pan Yu's health. In Dream of the Three Kingdoms, NPCs can all undergo material enhancements, but there is a limit to the number of times they can be strengthened. The same material can only be used 10 times on NPCs, and after 10 times, it cannot be used again unless there is a corresponding item to increase the number of times it can be used. However, such items are generally very rare. Moreover, there is also an NPC's emotional system in the game, and the NPCs in this game have emotions. If they develop emotions, they will react differently, and even commit suicide, which can be said to be completely anthropomorphic. As Pan Feng's only son, Pan Yu, who only has 1 point of health, is no different from a high-risk group. If Pan Yu fails, Pan Feng is likely to experience emotional breakdown, and Zhou Jie will suffer greatly. So, giving Pan Yu some health to prevent sudden death is also a disguised way to prevent Pan Feng from collapsing. That makes sense. The barrage finally gave a constructive proposal, 1 point of health, that's too tragic. Give this kid some health. Zhou nodded and looked at Pan Yu, then opened the beginner material gift pack from her backpack and exchanged it for 20 basic enhancement items gifted by the system. New books seek everything, flowers and evaluation tickets. Chapter 8. Strengthening Pan Yu, did a bug occur? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Primary enhancement. Blood. After using on targets with less than 300 points of Qi and blood, you can gain 1 increase in Qi and blood. Increase your Qi and blood a bit. If you can use 10, will you have 11 points of Qi and blood? Sister Zhou looked at the primary strengthening materials in the prop bar and murmured in her heart. In the game, Dream Three Kingdoms, the basic maximum limit of Qi and HP is 1000 points, which means that without any breakthrough items and special skills, the maximum Qi and HP is 1000 points. But now Pan Yu is 1 o'clock, even after the enhancement, it is only 11 o'clock, which makes Zhou Jie a bit sad and amused. If it weren't for the direct connection between Pan Yu and Pan Feng, Zhou Jie would have been reluctant to use this material to strengthen Pan Yu. After all, in the early stages of the game, the system only sent a little material. To obtain more materials, you must brush monsters and dungeons yourself, or spend money to obtain them from other players. Ding, your protagonist Zhou Jie used, primary enhancement. Health, *1 on you, and your chi and blood increased by 1 point. Ding, your protagonist Zhou Jie used, primary enhancement. Health, *1 on you, and your chi and blood increased by 1 point. Ding, your protagonist Zhou Jie used, primary enhancement. Health, *1 on you, and your chi and blood increased by 1 point. The system's prompts echoed in her ears, and Pan Yu watched as her chi and blood gradually increased from 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12. Hey! I'll go, what's the situation? Just as Sister Zhou was using the enhancement item, she was suddenly taken aback and looked into her backpack. What's going on? Why do I only have 9 basic enhancement? Health materials left. Isn't there 20? After giving him 10, I should still have 10 left. Sister Zhou is a bit distracted. In the game, the same reinforcement material can only be used 10 times on the same target, and after 10 times, it cannot be further reinforced. So when Zhou Jie just clicked on the enhancement, she didn't count it and directly controlled the enhancement. Anyway, after 10 attempts, the enhancement material can no longer be used. In the blink of an eye, Sister Zhou was stunned for a moment because she realized that the quantity of her materials was not right. At this moment, there were only 9 materials left in her backpack. According to the system rules, she should not be able to use it when there are only 10 remaining materials. Wait, let me take a look. Sister Zhou, who felt something was amiss, immediately checked her system messages. 1, 2, 3. 11. How could that be? When Zhou Jie was counting the prompt messages about strengthening materials in the system list, she suddenly realized that there were as many as 11 messages indicating the use of strengthening materials, which means she really used 11 strengthening materials. It's not right, it's not right. How could it be like this? Is it a bug? Shocked in her heart, Sister Zhou felt that there was a problem. Even though the system rules were there, why did she use 11 strengthening materials against Pan Yu? This is too strange. Ladies and gentlemen, I have some things to attend to. Please close the live broadcast for a while and come back later. The problem was a bit strange, Zhou said to the audience in the live broadcast room, and before everyone could react, she suddenly chose to close the live broadcast room. Something's wrong, how could it be like this? How could it be strengthened 11 times? Sister Zhou was speechless, scratching her ears and cheeks. At this moment, Pan Yu's attributes had already appeared in front of him, and his chi and blood had increased from 1 point to 12 points, which means that he had really strengthened himself 11 times just now. This obviously does not comply with the system settings, which is somewhat confusing. Lord, I still want to. Pan Yu looked up at Zhou Jie and pointed to the reinforcing material in her hand. This woman finally realized her uniqueness, and she even turned off the live broadcast, which allowed Pan Yu to finally have a normal conversation with her. He is afraid that his secret will be discovered by others. What if he really has a bug and is deleted by the system? Although this game doesn't seem to have a GM and uses the most advanced artificial brain as the system detection, Pan Yu is also afraid. If this is erased, he will really be dead. Do you still want it? Sister Zhou was shocked and stared at Pan Yu. You can still strengthen, really fake. Sister Zhou's face was full of doubt, unable to understand the specifics of what was going on. However, looking at Pan Yu's gaze, Sister Zhou cautiously used reinforcement materials again and aimed them at Pan Yu. The next scene shocked Sister Zhou. The strengthened item was successfully used, and Pan Yu's chi and blood increased slightly again. Oh roar, oh roar. It really works. What's going on? Is there a bug? How could it be? Sister Zhou was completely dumbfounded, watching as the prop disappeared and Pan Yu's attributes increased a bit. She couldn't believe her own eyes. It wasn't until he had used up all 20 qi and blood strengthening materials that Zhou finally realized what had happened. I used 20, that's too outrageous, isn't it? What's going on? Full of confusion, Sister Zhou felt a bit guilty. The detection of cheating bugs in this game is very strict, and there will be significant penalties for cheating using bugs. If a bug is found, you will receive a reward for submitting it as soon as possible, but if you profit from using the bug, you will receive a penalty. At this moment, Sister Zhou doesn't understand whether this situation belongs to a bug or not. Please confirm if the reinforcement rules are correct. Zhou Jie opened the feature list and found the reinforcement rules. After repeatedly reading them several times, Zhou Jie frowned. That's right, it's true that the same type of prop can only be used 10 times on the same character without the assistance of other props, but I've used it 20 times already. Is there really a bug? Her gaze involuntarily turned to Pan Yu, and Zhou Jie's gaze was extremely complex. New books seek everything, flowers and evaluation tickets. Chapter 9. Attempting to strengthen again, love, my. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Master, it seems that I can use a lot of the same thing as before. Seeing Zhou Jie's strange expression, Pan Yu was taken aback. She was afraid that this woman might mistake herself for a system bug and submit a bug application. Pan Yu didn't know if he belonged to a bug or not. After all, it's quite strange when it comes to transitioning from himself to the game. If something really goes wrong and is erased, then where should he cry? He said to Zhou Jie immediately. Ah, you mean, you can use many reinforcing materials. Upon hearing this, Sister Zhou looked at Pan Yu and asked seriously. Yes, there's a voice telling me that I can use that thing infinitely. At this moment, Pan Yu cannot tell the other party that she has infinitely enhanced hidden skills. Because he has to pretend to be an NPC, NPCs in the game world will not treat him as a pile of data, let alone understand what hidden skills are. So, Pan Yu could only use force to pretend to be an NPC, do a solution for Zhou Jie, and remind him of its effectiveness. Ah! What are you saying? Infinite. Sure enough, when she heard Pan Yu's words, Sister Zhou was taken aback, her big black eyes staring at Pan Yu. Zia Pan Yu, don't lie and deceive your sister. Can you really use that kind of thing infinitely just now? Well, I won't lie or deceive my lord, and besides, if you find some more of those things for me to use, won't you know if it's true? Pan Yu looked at the other person with a childish little face and said, while explaining, she didn't forget to deceive Zhou Jie and quickly found reinforcement materials to strengthen herself. Pan Yu doesn't want to always have this kind of garbage attribute, it's too insecure. Is it not a bug, it's because of his hidden skills. Sister Zhou's brain suddenly became more useful, subconsciously looking at the hidden skills of that series of question marks. Just now, whether it was the barrage or herself, they all thought that Pan Yu's full attribute 1 was due to his extremely useless negative attribute hidden skill. But now it seems that Pan Yu may not have any negative attributes, but rather possesses a powerful hidden skill that can limit and strengthen Pan Yu's abilities. At the thought of this, Sister Zhou's hands trembled a bit. Pan Yu is right. If we want to prove whether it's true or not, we just need to add some strengthening materials. At the thought of reinforcing materials, Sister Zhou quickly opened the trading center. The trading center is a platform provided by the system for players to trade resource props and generals. Players are completely free to sell any game tradable resource props within the trading center. Isn't this too expensive? When Zhou Jie clicked on the list of strengthening materials and saw the prices of the strengthening materials on the list, she gasped for breath. The system will initially provide players with 20 basic enhancement materials to enhance their generals. Some players, on the other hand, do not use these materials and instead choose to sell them. Although this is a small part, there are also some, so when Zhou Jie clicks on the list of strengthening materials, she can clearly see that there are materials for sale in the list, but the price makes Zhou Jie feel a bit uneasy. 10,000 gold coins per material. The current gold price is 10.1, which means that one material requires 1,000 coins. Sigh, this. Zhou Jie is not someone who lacks money. As the first sister of the platform, her income is quite considerable. However, seeing the price of these materials at the moment still makes him take a breath of cold air. The virtual currency of Dream of the Three Kingdoms is connected to real currency. Currently, the server has just opened, so the gold price is 10.1, which means that 1 R can be exchanged for 10 gold coins. A material costs 10,000 gold coins, which is 1,000 coins. Buying a basic material for 1,000 yuan is simply a luxury. No wonder someone sells primary materials. The materials gifted by this system are directly worth 20,000 yuan. If you make more money, you will have to earn back the money for the equipment. Sister Zhou could not help complaining about it. However, thinking about it is also right. It must be very difficult to produce this material now. They sacrificed their early development to sell the material, which is not expensive at all. Okay, buy a few first and give them a try. Zhou Jie looked at the expensive materials and ultimately purchased 100,000 gold coins, which is only 10,000 coins. Subsequently, he purchased 10 basic enhancements and health. Whether 10,000 yuan is worth it or not depends on whether you can succeed. Taking a deep breath, Zhou Jie used reinforcement materials on Pan Yu. Ding, your protagonist Zhou Jie used primary enhancement. Health, *1 on you, and your chi and blood increased by 1 point. Ding, your protagonist Zhou Jie used primary enhancement. Health, *1 on you, and your chi and blood increased by 1 point. Pan Yu looked at the system's prompt, his chi and blood rising again, his eyes full of excitement. Obviously, the increase in attributes made him feel extremely secure. At the same time, Zhou Jie's eyeballs also widened wider and wider, until all 10 newly purchased materials were used up. 31 points of chi and blood, it's really true. Can it really be infinitely strengthened? Sister Zhou was excited and calculated that she had used a total of 30 strengthening materials on Pan Yu, but she could still use them. It was no different. She was convinced that this was indeed true, and Pan Yu could really be infinitely strengthened. For a moment, Zhou Jie, who was still in pain for 10,000 yuan just now, jumped up and down in place. Little baby, sister loves you so much. Infinite enhancement, do you know what it means? Zhou Jie was so excited that she flew up and picked up Pan Yu, giving her a hard smack on her face. Infinite enhancement, even people in some deserts know that this means a god will be born soon. As long as they are willing to spend their capital, Pan Yu will take off directly from the ground. Woo 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 woo, my baby, love you, I want to cultivate you into a Gundam. Sister Zhou said with a beaming expression. New books seek everything, flowers and evaluation tickets. Chapter 10. Continuously Strengthening and Wealthy Sister Zhou. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hehe, it seems that the Lord really likes you. Pan Feng saw Zhou Jie pick up Pan Yu with a look of love that couldn't be put down, and was foolishly happy on the side, very pleased. General Pan, you don't know. Your son is simply a genius. I love him so much. Don't worry, I will definitely cultivate him well if I hand him over to me in the future. Zhou Jie said to Pan Feng, having already decided in her heart to fully cultivate Pan Yu. Infinite reinforcement, if you're willing to spend money, Pan Yu's growth space is even more impressive than those historical figures. Imagine in the future, standing in front of a super high-tech with all attributes, that would not be exciting. Fortunately, I turned off the live broadcast. This secret must be kept confidential. In the future, when opening a live broadcast, we must not let others know Pan Yu's secret. Sister Zhou's face was full of smiles at the moment, very satisfied with her actions of shutting down the broadcast. After all, if this secret were to be known to everyone, Zhou Jie would be at a great loss. She would cultivate Pan Yu as a secret weapon and not let him reveal his attributes. Next, let's continue to strengthen him. Don't worry about anything else, let's first strengthen his qi and blood to the fullest before we can let my Pan Yu fail. Sister Zhou thought to herself and looked back at the trading center. At present, it has been strengthened 30 times, and Pan Yu's qi and blood have reached 31 points. Below 300 points of qi and blood can be strengthened with basic strengthening materials, which means that I can also strengthen him 269 times, which is... Hiss, it's so expensive. 26.9 W. Sister Zhou took a breath of cold air and found that Pan Yu's qi and blood needed 269 primary strengthening materials to increase to 300. For 1,000 ARC coins per material, the tracking cost is 269,000. 269,000 yuan, this is already a huge sum of money for ordinary people. Even as a game anchor, Zhou Jie has not invested so much money in the game. I can't bear to let go of my child, but I can't keep a wolf in place. Spell it. Quickly, Sister Zhou's gaze became firm. She believes that this investment is necessary. As long as Pan Yu is cultivated, the future returns will definitely be much greater than the current investment. Pan Yu, sister has invested all her dowry in you. You must be responsible to me. Pinch Pan Yu's face, Zhou Jie said. Immediately, without any hesitation, she directly recharged and then purchased coins to sweep the inventory. Ding, your protagonist Zhou Jie used, primary enhancement. Health, *1 on you, and your qi and blood increased by 1 point. Ding, your protagonist Zhou Jie used, primary enhancement. Health, *1 on you, and your qi and blood increased by 1 point. Ding, your protagonist Zhou Jie used, primary enhancement. Health, *1 on you, and your qi and blood increased by 1 point. The sound of the system in her ear constantly reminded Pan Yu that her qi and blood began to soar wildly, from 31 to 50, then to 100, and then to 150, 200, 250. Until her qi and blood reached 300, and finally, the news came to an abrupt end. Finally, it's not just a battle scumbag who dies at a touch. Pan Yu became excited and watched as her qi and blood increased from a little to 300, and her anxious mood completely calmed down at this moment. To be honest, Pan Yu was really panicked when she had qi and blood 1. She had to walk cautiously to avoid falling and dying. Fortunately, after Zhou Jie's nearly 300,000 yuan investment, her qi and blood finally reached 300. This qi and blood can only be said to be the normal health value of ordinary martial generals, but for Pan Yulai, it was a revolutionary victory. You have 300 HP now. If you want to upgrade again, you will need intermediate materials. At the current game progress, intermediate materials may not be as easy to obtain. Sister Zhou looked at how 269 basic materials in her backpack had been used up by herself. To be honest, it's not surprising that she didn't feel sorry. However, it was obvious that Sister Zhou felt that this effort was necessary, and now the basic qi and blood strengthening materials have no effect on Pan Yu. If you want to increase your qi and health, you need intermediate materials. Based on the current progress of the game, it should take a considerable amount of time to produce intermediate materials. After all, this game itself does not sell props, and any props need to be obtained by players themselves or traded within the game. Next, let's improve Pan Yu's other attributes. Sister Zhou's gaze shifted once again to the other attributes of Pan Yu. Since she planned to invest in them, she didn't plan to compromise on being thin. Instead, she planned to work hard and give Pan Yu a boost in all attributes. Primary enhancement. Strength. After using it on targets with force values below 30, you can gain 1 point of force increase. There is a 0.5% chance to gain 1 point increase in strength when used with a force value between 30.50. Primary enhancement. Control. After using it on targets with a control value below 30, you can obtain 1 point of control increase. For use with a control value between 30.50, there is a 0.5% chance to obtain 1 point increase in control. Primary enhancement. Defense. After using it on targets with a defense value below 30, you can gain 1 point of defense increase. For use with a defense value between 30 and 50, there is a 0.5% chance to gain 1 defense boost. Primary enhancement. Sensitivity. After using it on targets with agility values below 30, you can gain 1 point of agility increase. For use with agility values between 30.50, there is a 0.5% chance to gain 1 agility boost. Feng.Pan Yu, let's first cultivate you on the general's body, and improve your 4 attributes of strength, unity, defense, and agility. As for intelligence and politics, we will lower the price of materials in the future. Sister Zhou looked at Pan Yu and planned to cultivate her into a general type first. As a general, the most basic 5 dimensions are qi and blood, force, command, defense, and agility. Qi and blood are full, and she plans to first strengthen the other 4 items to 30, so that Pan Yu's initial attributes can be seen. New books seek everything, flowers and evaluation tickets.